So, the translations are out for My Hero Academia Manga Chapter 395, and it's time for us to say goodbye to a fellow character in My Hero Academia, because from what we get with this chapter, it is the conclusion of a specific character and the implication that they are no longer a part of the living. And you'll get to see who that potential person is, but first, right after this. Hey guys, how's it going? It is your boy, Manga Man Drew, and I'm here to do my manga review for My Hero Academia Manga Chapter 395. And boy, oh boy, is this a very emotional chapter, with the implication that a very well-known character and a very fan-favorite character is potentially dead in this chapter. Yes, I am ripping off the bandage right now because unfortunately this person is going to need more than a few bandages if they are assumingly still alive. And we'll be getting into the smaller details when it comes to why this character is dying and what brought them to this point and why it may be fitting for who this character is. So, let's dive right into the chapter and see what's going on with this character. And to start off, the chapter pretty much concludes from where we are implied to be happening within the last chapter, where we see the entire swarm of the Toga twice clones beginning to disappear because Toga's quirk and using Twice's blood has finally run out. And there are some implications that we are getting from this reveal on this page. For instance, the implication and pretty much reveal that the Todoroki family was being attacked, but that Endeavor was shielding them with his own body to protect them, which implies that Endeavor is still alive. Now, we do not know if Dabi is alive in this moment, but most likely he is, but is probably going to be dying in the near future. Which I'm okay with, because I do think that this is going to play a crucial part in the finishing and the proper conclusion of the Todoroki family plotline in the future. But we also see that Toga was also reaching out for Ida as well, but actually fails to do any damage to him. But someone that does get damaged is Hawks, as we see a knife has cut into Hawks' face as well as his chest, as we see the Toga twice clone cutting into him. And now, I'm not going to imply that Hawks is the one that is dying in this chapter, but at the very least, he's going to have scars on his face and his chest, even more than he already has, and that maybe this wound could lead to his death. But this actually addresses something that many people want to see, which is an interaction between Toga and Hawks when it comes to Jin's death. And how there is a little bit of closure here, where you have Hawks saying that Bubagawara was a really good guy as Toga cries. Most likely implying that even though Hawks had to kill Jin in that moment based off what he believed, that he still had regrets and still recognizes Jin as a person, something that Toga did not believe that the heroes had the capability of doing. And as this is happening, we just have Toga pretty much having an inner monologue about what's going on. How she wants to become the people that she loves, and how she should have never held her knife in anger. How she's noticing that her using her quirk is very much heavily affecting her body in a very negative way, and has a similar idea and concept for what may be happening to Uraraka in this moment. Because we also get some inner thoughts about Uraraka as she begins to come to the conclusion that she's most likely dying in this moment. And how you just have Toga recognizing that this is probably happening because of what Uraraka was doing the entire time. Not only was Uraraka stabbed, but constantly kept moving, which means that she was losing more blood, but that the strain of a quirk awakening having on her body and making sure that no one fell from the air to the ground and died also put a lot of stress on her body, in a similar vein as Toga's quirk awakening was putting strain on her body. So the implication is that Uraraka is about to die, and we pan over to very different heroes, showing that there isn't really anyone that could really help her in this moment. And tying into this, there is this idea that, oh yeah, no, Uraraka shouldn't be dying in this moment, and the person that saves her shouldn't have died as well, because Uraraka just had a knife wound in the stomach, and we've seen characters die and live through much worse. To which, here's the thing about this. Most likely, Uraraka does not have the durability of other characters, such as Endeavor, Dabi, Gran Torino, and Bakugo. And many of them had like life-threatening things occur to them, but a major difference between them and Uraraka in this moment is that they had almost immediate medical attention to help prevent their death from occurring. With Endeavor with cauterizing his wound, Dabi with his ice quirk cooling down his body, as well as not having any feeling in his body so he cannot die from shock from the pain and feeling the blood loss, Bakugo with Edge Shot, and Gran Torino with Rock Lock and Manual and just being close to medical individuals. But Uraraka in this moment doesn't have any of that, and she's losing a lot of blood fast, and Toga recognizes this, which is where we get the possible beginnings of Toga sacrificing her life for Uraraka. Yes, the character in question that may be dying is Toga, and she's the one that brings up this entire situation and also explains to Uraraka what the League of Villains plan was, which is to destroy the world and create a new one where she could live a easier life. However, Toga has accepted Uraraka and really pretty much confirms her love for her, and how she does not want Uraraka to live in a world like that. So now she's willing to sacrifice all of her blood if it means saving Uraraka. And we do get another understanding of how Toga's quirk actually works, where we learn that when she transforms into someone, not only does her physical features change, but she also takes upon the blood of the individual that she is drinking. And this is very important because Uraraka does have a blood type B, but Toga also has a blood type of O, and by having a O blood type, she does not necessarily need to have Uraraka's blood to give blood to her. However, if her blood is the exact same as Uraraka, that means that there's less likelihood of the blood being rejected by the body. So it would be a better way for Uraraka to survive. And we all know what Uraraka is thinking in this moment, that she cannot comprehend what is going on and that this is something that Himiko Toga would do. And vice versa, Himiko Toga really couldn't believe that Uraraka was doing this because she could have instantly killed her, she could have arrested her, but she decided to literally attempt to reach her heart. And that was something very touching and important for Toga in this moment. And what's very interesting about this is that the way that she's giving this blood is very much mimicking how she survived during My Villain Academia, where Jin used his quirk to copy Toga and give Toga the blood of the copy. And this is very important because this is a double layer meaning for what Uraraka is going to be going through involving Toga, where Toga is literally becoming Uraraka and is doing so not only physically, but is also doing something that Uraraka was doing. Because Uraraka was willing to sacrifice her life if it means saving Toga, and Toga is doing vice versa. But also, this applies to Jin as well, aka Twice, because not only is she doing the exact same thing Twice did to save her life, but now she's doing the exact same thing to save Uraraka's life. They're doing the exact same thing to save the lives of the people that they care about the most. And this is important for what is about to become the end of this chapter, with the implication that Toga is dying, because she's dying in a way where she is becoming the people that she loved. She's becoming like Uraraka by acting like a hero, and becoming like Twice by doing something that Twice did to save the life of someone she cares about. And this is a running theme in this chapter of Toga doing what she wants and is living the life that she always believed was hers. And this is something that Uraraka is very much against, but there's nothing that she can really do about it because she can't really move. And we still have Toga just reminiscing about everything that has happened. She realized that just because her house was burned down does not mean that the scars and the pains that the house created were not still a part of her. But because of what Uraraka did, that pain began to go away little by little, more and more. and how within the final moments of this chapter, Toga thanks Uraraka for everything that she has done, and that what she is doing is that she's thanking Uraraka for making her happy. And then we just have the last moments, most likely, of Toga's thoughts about what would have happened if, instead of her wanting to take others' blood, how she should have gave blood to other people. And what would happen if she found love earlier. Could have lived a life or lived in this world, or her life in this current world would have been a lot easier. And how she pretty much ends by saying, quote, "I am Himiko Toga, and I lived exactly how I wanted to. I have the cutest smile in the world, and I'm a normal girl," as the chapter ends. And the reason why I do believe that Toga is dead in this moment is because, once again, this ending very much mimics the last moments that we saw with Twice, where Twice saved someone that he cared about, aka Toga and Mr. Compress. He died in her arms while they were hugging, and he has this last monologue about how he was happy with his life and basically rebutting any idea people had about him. And that's kind of what Toga is doing right now. As well as we have symbolism of the bird in the final pages of this chapter, which birds being free can be attributed or be a metaphor for death or freedom from the mortal plane. And birds being used like this in this way in shonen can be seen in another series, AOT, where a character is dead, but within their last moments, they are symbolically represented by a bird flying in the sky, being free, as it appears to be that they have died. So I do think that Toga is most likely dead in this moment, just due to all of the implications and all of the parallels and mimicries of what happened with Twice. And let me just say that this was an unexpected end for Toga, but still very much a fitting one. Because in the end, she lived the way that she wanted. She died the way that she wanted. She lived the life that she believed was normal without any care for what the world is. And that even though she could have gone to jail, that is not something that she wanted, and this is something that she wanted. She wanted to die if it means saving the life of someone that she loved. That is who Himiko Toga is, and that is what she will always be until the day she dies, which is most likely today within the world of My Hero Academia. And yeah, this is another death that is very impactful. It wasn't as impactful as Twice because the implications were not all fully there that she was going to die, but this is still a very emotional chapter and really showing that this war does have consequences, whether positive or negative. And that in the end, even though these characters are fictional, they have shown to be just feeling like realistic people with realistic goals and ambitions, and that even in the end, even if you are saved, there could very much be a bittersweet ending for the villains. Which is why I do believe that potentially this could be showing that characters like Dabi and Tomura are potentially going to be dying at the end of their arcs, but how their deaths will most likely lead to changes in the future to prevent people like them from ever existing ever again. And I kind of thought that this was something that is going to happen to Tomura, and I think that this happening to Toga is most likely going to be showing this happening with Tomura as well. But yeah, that's all I really want to say for Toga for right now. Getting into what I think is going to be happening next chapter, I think definitively next chapter we are going to be switching locations. We may be seeing the other battlegrounds where the Toga Twice clones were. We may get some conclusions with what was happening with Kurogiri, Present Mike, as well as Eraserhead. We may even get to see what Sero and Aoyama was doing. I'm gonna be honest, I'm really wanting to know what Sero was doing this entire time. Maybe we'll get a flashback to those moments, maybe we won't. Or maybe we'll just cut over to the fight between All for One and One for All for One and All Might, and see what that is going to be like. But yeah, that's what I think is going to be happening in the next chapters. And overall, I think that this was an amazing chapter and a very wonderful send-off for Toga as a character, as well as when it comes to her plotline. How she died the way that she wanted, she died as who she was, Himiko Toga, and she died for the person that she loved. And that even though she did all these horrible things, in a sense, she was kind of redeemed, but still died the way that she wanted and who she was, as well as getting some conclusions to some confrontations, at the very least, between her and Hawks, as well as her and Uraraka. And that most likely at the end of this, Uraraka is going to have to carry this burden along with her to help build a better world. But yeah, that's all I really have to say on the topic. What did you think of the chapter? Did you like it? Did you dislike it? And do you think that this is a perfect end for Toga's character and her plotline involving Uraraka? Leave your thoughts down below, and don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification button to be notified for whenever I upload more content like this. Do all that cool jazz, and hopefully I'll catch you in my next video. Goodbye! Hey, Goodbye, Toga.